Welcome back to the Sports Trigger, everyone. Today we are talking a little loyalty Sunday in the sports world. Travis, are you ready to start?
I know I'm loyal. Are you?
Welcome back to the Sports Trigger, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing loyalty in sports. Travis, what does the word loyalty in sports to you mean?
So the thing when it comes to loyalty, and it's definitely tough for both of us because we're both Pacers fans. So, granted, this person who shall not be mentioned that was a Pacer, he wore the number 13, was traded, so it wasn't on his own free will. But, you know, obviously he'd made comments, and that kind of led to, okay, well, we gotta get something, for this guy regardless. But loyalty to me is what I look at. If you're drafted by a team, obviously you don't have a choice, with that. But I definitely think that loyalty is something to where that player drafted by the team should at least stick it out, give it a couple years. You know, obviously there are several players that have been drafted by Philly and, you know, they haven't made the playoffs for, well, I think it was mid-2000s whenever Andre Iguodala was there last. It's been a while. So I definitely think if you're drafted by a team, give them some time, see how they develop and put players around you depending on how good you are, I guess. But, when it comes to being traded, I guess when it's unexpected, like a trade, then maybe loyalty shouldn't be there as much, or I wouldn't expect as much loyalty because, hey, this guy didn't want to go here, but he got shipped out. So, I think loyalty to me comes down to more so if our team drafts you, give them some time, whether they're a big market team or a small market team, and see what you guys can do versus jumping ship, try to join a power team and, you know, chase titles.
See, to me, I don't think there's loyalty in that sense anymore because in terms of loyalty, I'm thinking of you need to do the best job that you can while you're there. Yeah, I mean, you look at it all across sports, everybody's chasing the better opportunity now, which props to them. You know, if they're at the specific situation and they are like, oh, no, I don't like it, or I feel like I can't win a title, so I'm going to go somewhere else. Or, oh, I can get paid twice as much over here. Okay, I'm jumping ship. I think everybody would probably do that. It sucks for the fans. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I get pissed off all the time about it. But can you really blame the guys for going? I mean, there are certain situations in the way they handle themselves, like someone that we won't mention that gets a little frustrating of leaking stuff that might hurts the team's trade value or trade abilities, or maybe, you know, got the Kyrie Irving situation the same way where he's like, hey, heck, I want out, and he still had 2 years on his contract, so then you put these organizations in a bind. That, for me, kills me off as a fan. I'm just like, come on, like, there's so many different ways you can handle it, and that's not being loyal to your team or to your fans or the city. But I also get it the other way around. When your contract's up, your team could be like, oh, we're not re-signing you. So I get it. I get that part of it. I'm thinking more of loyalty and not going over to another organization and bashing the previous one you're at.
Right.
Specifically, you've seen it a lot in college recently with a few former Alabama players coming back at Nick Saban after they've left for their quote-unquote better opportunity. That loyalty, yeah, that loyalty to me just has me absolutely outrageous. I mean, you have a scholarship. You're brought in on a scholarship to compete for a job. It's not handed out to you. I don't care what you say about that. And then you don't get picked. Okay, whatever. And you go choose your other opportunity because you decide not to stick it out and compete. Whatever. Okay, that's your choice. But then you come back at the coach or the program and you bash them afterwards. That's going against the grain of loyalty to me there. They're the school that gave you an opportunity starting out. So you should have some loyalty to them because, you know what, there's X amount of players out there who would have loved to be handed that scholarship to Alabama or wherever they're at, or, you know, drafted by a team, even if the team's just absolute garbage. And so if you're not showing some loyalty and you're coming back bashing them, that's where I really draw the line.
So one quick note, which is great, that you brought up Alabama. Cooper Bateman, who transferred to Utah, he actually lost the QB race, and he's not going to get the starting job to start off at Utah. So just a quick squib there. But so essentially, what you're saying is, as far as being drafted in general, as long as you're giving your all, you're not being sluggish, or you know, you're not being whiny about how bad your team may be, all the Sixers in previous seasons. They're on the up and up, I would say. Trust the process. But what you're saying is, you know, give it all you have. You know, that's why you're in the league. You should have expected that, you know, this is a process, and you may not get on the team you would prefer. Obviously, that's why the lower teams are the lotto picks. You know, you're not going to get on the Golden State Warriors, teams like that. So is that essentially kind of what you're saying as far as the drafting goes?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're drafted by a team, they're giving you an opportunity. Shut up and go play. And you know what? After 3 years or 4 years, when your contract's up, if you want to try and go somewhere else, go somewhere else. Don't re-sign. Ask to be traded at the very end of it. But don't give me all this garbage of like, you know, the whole Lonzo Ball thing, just that absolutely pissed me off, of saying like, or even back to, I'm trying to think when, heck, yeah, even when Peyton Manning was there, and John Elway, going back to John Elway, where they were like, oh, they're not going to go play for this team, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Screw that. That's out of control. You're even being mentioned by as a top draft, as a top draft pick. Go out there and play. Or, you know what? The other option is, be Bagley and reclassify, and then he was probably looking at like, oh, Boston has the number 1 pick. I wonder if they had something in there where he was like, hey, you're going to be the number 1 pick this year or next year. Boston has the number 1 pick potentially next year. Let's reclassify so you can go to Boston. I wonder if I wonder if that was a part of the, you know, evaluation. And now, you know, Bagley's probably going to end up at, the Cavaliers potentially.
Probably, yeah.
If they end up getting the number 1 pick. So, yeah, so outside of that, do everything you can before, so maybe just tank before, so you don't get picked by, that team, or, go and stick it out. I'm tired of it. You know, the loyalty, they're taking these chances for granted, and they get mad when fans get all upset, you know? I'm going to be a lot less upset if somebody plays out their contract, gives it their all, and then goes off to another opportunity. I'm fine with that. Like, I mean, as much as I say I hate LeBron, you know, every single time he's left, he's been a free agent.
Right,
so at least he's played out his contract, and you can't deny that he's gone out there and played just about as hard as he can outside of some playoff games where he took the fourth quarters off and looked absolutely terrible. For the most part, I mean, he's played pretty darn hard, and that's hard to argue against. So, you know, I would be a lot less upset about that compared to the Paul George situation, or the Kyrie Irving situation, or Lonzo Ball pre-draft, stuff like that. So,
see, I'm not overly upset about Kyrie, specifically because I can't stand Cleveland and LeBron, so I like him leaving, but also because in some situations, you may be with another player that you can't stand. And, I mean, obviously his reason, or at least it was told that his reason was he wants to be the main guy, which I totally understand that. So, I mean, at least he's made his intentions made, or is, everyone aware of his intentions. So I'm not too mad about the Kyrie situation, but I mean, just in general, you're going to be professional athletes. It's an honor to be in the NBA, NFL, any professional sport for that matter. So appreciate it. You know, you're a great athlete, to some extent. So just stick it out.
Yeah. So do you think loyalty still exists in the sports world at all?
I would say to a very small degree. If we're talking professional, it's very, very small. When it comes to collegiate athletes, collegiate sports, definitely more so. just because, obviously you want to show your stuff and you're on a platform and, there are different factors that go into it. But definitely when it comes to professional sports, especially NBA, I think that loyalty is gone away, essentially.
Yeah, I think it's very small, but to be honest, I don't think it needs to exist, really. I mean, for the fans, yes, we want it to exist, but really, it's a business, so it doesn't need to exist. So, with that being said, thanks a lot for joining us on another episode at the Sports Trigger, and until next time.